How you doing? I'm Tony. Welcome aboard the Rambles. Come along as we check out the Railroad Hobby Show in West Springfield, Massachusetts. In this video, join me as I embark on a journey through 400,000 square feet of breathtaking exhibits and attractions, from the smallest of model trains to an actual operating steam locomotive in the parking lot. I'll take you on a tour of the 4 buildings of the Eastern States Exposition fairgrounds, diving into the amazing world of railroads and model trains. Let's begin your guide to the 2023 Railroad Hobby Show right now. Stepping into the Railroad Hobby Show, I was in awe of the amazing model train setups on display. From cityscapes to mountain scenes, each layout was a work of art with intricate details and realistic landscapes. As I explored the show, I was drawn to the different scales of trains and how they added to the overall look of the layouts. Starting with the smallest, N-scale layouts were plentiful. Many visitors were drawn to these N-scale trains, and it was clear it was a popular choice amongst hobbyists. I was amazed by the intricate details and realistic landscapes of the N-scale layouts on display. The level of creativity and dedication that went into each layout was truly impressive. The trains chugged along their tracks through bustling cities and idyllic countryside scenes. I was impressed by the number of larger HO scale layouts on display. The track seemed to loop and weave its way almost endlessly. What I found especially interesting was that many of these layouts were made up of modules. Club members often own their own module, which allows them to personalize their part of the layout with their own unique touch. However, even though each module was unique, it was still standardized to be able to connect with other club modules. Even if someone lived across the country, you could join up with their module. At the show, it was amazing to see how different clubs came together to create even larger and more complex layouts. The modularity of the club layouts allowed for endless possibilities, potentially making each visit to a show new and exciting. I was impressed by the diversity of model train layouts on display. HO was the most popular and widely exhibited from my perspective, but there were a whole host of other scales that offered unique and interesting perspectives. One such scale was O-scale. There weren't many 3-rail O-scale layouts, but the singular 2-rail O-scale layout was very realistic and captivating. Another highlight was the variety of niche layouts, such as the European Train Enthusiasts. This is a group that was dedicated to preserving European model trains. There was also a brick scale layout group called the New England Lego Users Group. It's fascinating. The spacious interiors of the buildings enabled the massive G-scale trains to display their full potential. But the captivating F-scale logging layout named the Chester and Beckett stole the show. This masterpiece is a highly detailed narrow gauge railroad, perfectly replicating a woodland scene, including a mine. It was truly a feast for the eyes and a testament to the passion and creativity of the model train community. But the showcase was not limited to just hobbyists, as manufacturers also brought their own layouts to demonstrate their latest products. This gave visitors a sense of how the trains would look on their own setups. Lionel's booth was particularly impressive, showcasing both enthusiast-level models and Lion Chief products, including the delayed number 90 and the recently announced Vision Line Big Boy. Visitors had the chance to interact with model producers and learn about the inspiration behind upcoming models. Dave from Lionel shared that the Cab 3 app could someday even allow control of Lionel trains using a PlayStation controller. Ryan and I got a chance to talk about the numbering on a recent model announced just a few weeks prior. But it wasn't just Lionel. I was able to confirm with Broadway Limited that they're going to do a re-release of an N-scale locomotive that I've been having a particularly tough time locating. And there were several other manufacturers there as well. Take a look here at what Atlas had to offer. They brought prototypes of upcoming models, and you really got to go up close and personal with them. This is an experience unmatched anywhere else. Maybe York comes close. I'll quickly show you the booths of other manufacturers that I saw at the show, but this is not an exhaustive list. While I wasn't able to purchase anything directly from the manufacturer's booth, there was a vast selection of new and secondary items available for sale from other vendors. Just 5 minutes into the first day, I realized my budget was in trouble after browsing the train's booth. They had a huge variety of hard-to-find MTH items. You'll have to wait till the end of the video to see what I got, but it was a tough day for my wallet. Being a regular visitor to the train show in York, Pennsylvania, I was not surprised to see many familiar faces. Brady's Trains and Grzybowski's were there. Joey from Grzybowski's had a massive space, allowing him to display his merchandise without feeling cramped. I also took a moment to visit the folks at Nassau Hobbies, who I frequently purchase pre-orders from. It was great to put some faces to the names. I was hoping to see Charles Rowe at the show, but unfortunately, they were not in attendance. Generally speaking, the prices at the show were what you would expect. There were some really great deals to be had, and some other prices that really just made you scratch your head because they should have been at least half off what the person was asking. Most everyone was willing to work with you on the price, and overall, I found the vendors to be very friendly and cordial to deal with. There were a whole host of other products available for sale, not just model trains, but everything that you need to support your layout, including tools, replacement parts, and scenery. Almost anything you could think of, you could find at the show. They also had entertainment. There was a troupe of clowns that were walking around, and they had that full-size steam locomotive in the parking lot. You were even able to pull the whistle or ring the bell. Other railroads were there promoting as well. Even the Westchester Railroad, which is not far from where I'm at, made the trek. But the coolest were the railroads that brought some of their hardware. A chapter of NARCOA, or the North American Railcar Operators Association, even brought one of their track inspection vehicles. It was really neat to talk to the fella operating it and to learn how it worked. Apparently, it's chain driven with a 4-stroke gasoline motor and has its own turntable to flip the car around if it needs to start heading off in the opposite direction. One of the most intriguing services on offer was the 3D printing of custom figures for model railroads. The 3D printing technology brought a new level of customization, and this vendor was not the only one doing it. In fact, one of the reasons I was at the show was to help my grandfather, who makes his own 3D models and produces them for sale for HO layouts. This is the part where I shamelessly plug my grandfather's company. Check out Bethlehem Car Works. They make some really amazing products, and my grandfather was more or less solely responsible for getting me into the hobby. Thanks, Grandpop. So, now that you've watched this much, you might be planning to attend the train show. Here are some tips to make your experience even smoother. First, pre-purchase your wristbands to avoid long lines on the day of the show. For the entire day on Saturday, there were folks waiting in line just to get their tickets. My understanding is you could have them mailed to you weeks before. Next, bring plenty of cash, as ATMs were few and far between and had high fees. Also, the cash helps you to bargain better with folks at the show. For tip number 3, I recommend that you either plan to eat early or plan to eat late. If that doesn't sound like something you want to do, bring your own meal. There were plenty of concession stands. However, the lines were so long, it ate into valuable train time. And finally, it's my 5th point, and this was something I was concerned about going into it because I had to travel a good distance and get a hotel room. So if you're traveling from a distance don't worry about staying at a hotel right around the corner from the venue. Commuting wasn't too bad, and that's even despite the fact that on the first day, they had 11,900 attendees. And now for the end of the video where I show you everything that I got. Here it is. Almost everything you see here I bought at the Trains booth because they had a bunch of really hard to find European models. There are some K-Line Reading cars that I got from a vendor dealing specifically with used trains. I got an excellent deal on those, although they are a little bit beat up. However, it's nothing a little weathering can't handle. If you want to see these models more in depth, I suggest you subscribe to my channel. At some point, I'll open them up and get them out on my layout, and the best way to know when that video is coming up is to subscribe. So consider that, and for now, the Rambles is leaving the station, but I'll be back soon with some more content.